On the very first Small Ball Podcast episode, we talk about the vision behind this show. We talk about the NBA playoffs and what we are looking forward to in the conference finals. Scott gives us an incredible ad read, and we finish the show talking about the NBA draft lottery. Let's get it.
Morant blows by Primo. Attack. Jokic in the power. Here it goes. Got it. Denver has won.
But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. But this is the hard way to do it, and we did it.
We welcome you in to the first ever episode of the Small Ball Podcast alongside Trevor Mickulin and Christian Dennis. I'm Scott Ayers. We say hello from Trevor's bedroom in Glendale, Arizona. It is a treat to be here. We have waited for this moment, and now it is finally here. Trevor, why don't you go ahead and share the dream and vision of this show?
Welcome to the Small Ball Podcast. This has been a dream for a couple years now. I'll get the cat out the bag. I am a Sacramento Kings fan, diehard. Christian, what team do you root for?
I root for the Sacramento Kings.
Scott, who do you root for?
Hello there. I stand with the Denver Nuggets.
The Denver Nuggets fans, you'll hear of here and there, but Sacramento Kings fans, we exist. And growing up as a Kings fan, never got the attention. Did we deserve it? No. But we did not get any attention from national media. Everything, podcasts, YouTube shows, everything, you're not going to get the attention. The goal of this show is to provide quality content to small market sports teams, NBA teams in particular here. There's a growing frustration amongst NBA small market teams, the fans of those teams of, their team's just not getting any attention. And so that's where we step in. We want to provide that content, the quality content to those teams, and shine some light on incredible stories and incredible players because they deserve it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things basketball. We're going to be discussing things that are going on throughout the league. But our main focus is to really just shine those lights on those teams that aren't getting noticed. For example, if the Lakers are playing the Kings in triple overtime and the Kings beat them, ESPN, all the highlights are Lakers. They don't even show a Kings highlight, and they won. So we want to just talk about those small teams that aren't getting that recognition and still talk about what is relevant in the NBA today.
And that's not to say, if you are a fan of the Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, LA Lakers, we hope that you still join us on this journey and this adventure because maybe you might learn a thing or two, and we're not going to stray away from talking about large market teams. This is going to be a basketball show, and we are in the heart of the NBA playoffs, so we're not going to stray away from talking about these bigger teams, but it's the little guy that we want to give attention to. And speaking of which, that moves perfectly in to our first topic, the Dallas Mavericks versus the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. If you're listening to this game is happening tomorrow because this is being released tomorrow, Tuesday, 5/17, game being played 5/18. So keep that in mind. Dallas versus Golden State. Guys, it took a lot for Dallas to get here, but now as the last small to mid-market team, they have a little fight against another big Goliath.
They do. And they're coming off of a incredible dub. Historical win in Game 7. My, oh my, Luka Doncic is the real deal. You guys have heard it, and it's true. He went to work against the Suns. It was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't think anyone expected this. The Suns, number 1 seed in the West, off of a year that was tremendous.
Yeah.
I honestly thought they were going to be for sure in the championship this year.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away at how bad they were.
It was as if they had asked us three, our two roommates, to put on Suns gear, shorts that are 3 sizes too big and go dribble a basketball for 48 minutes. That's
so
what
bad.
it was like watching the Phoenix
It was so
Suns.
bad. And like he mentioned, we're in Glendale, Arizona. We are 5 minutes from Phoenix. Phoenix fans are in shambles. We have a friend, Kyle Gearing, sent us his initial thoughts. Here they are.
Hello, podcast listeners. This is a Suns fan since day one. I've been through it all. I've been through the worst record in the league. I've been through the best. This was one of the worst performances. Very disappointed, obviously. I think that the Pelicans exposed us. I hope that Christian and Trevor talk about this, but Willie Green being the coach, they know exactly what ticks us off. They know exactly how to stop us from coaching us. They exposed us. There's no energy on the bench. It's just absolutely heartbreaking and disappointing. Didn't see it coming. Did not see this coming at all. Hope to be on the pod soon.
Kyle, we are going to have you on the pod soon, but what stood out to me, they didn't see it coming, and heartbreaking. So true. Suns fans thought that they were the team. Suns in 4. They just did not show up. Chris Paul, Booker just vanished. It was pathetic.
Yeah, I think Kyle said it best with that Willie Green exposed them. You know, a guy who came from that coaching staff last year knows ins and outs of that Suns offense and defense, knows Chris Paul. It's so easy for him to nitpick everything the Suns are bad at and just kind of showcase it to the whole NBA how to beat this team. Because last year they looked almost unbeatable until Giannis decided to just go sicko mode.
Who am I? Guess
Chihuahua?
who I am? Who am I?
Spencer Dinwiddie.
Pat Beverly today on all the national media just chirping at Chris Paul. What were you guys' thoughts on that? He was going in.
On the bark or Pat Beverly?
You need to work on your bark.
Whatever you want to talk about, boys.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul is Hall of Famer, multiple time All-Star, one of the best point guards to ever play the game. And then it's Pat Beverly.
Yeah. Truthfully, I think there was some validity to it.
100%.
It just feels weird coming from Pat Beverly, who I don't know what is his biggest career, and he's still allowed to have an opinion and a take for not having great career achievements. It just felt
He's never missed the playoffs.
that's a great career achievement. There you
Thank
go.
you. There we go.
There you go.
But Pat Beverly is also known as a CP3 hater.
Yeah.
Remember when he pushed him in the back because CP3 was so deep in his mind? Like, Pat Bev despises CP3 because CP3 controls.
I
Pat
will
Bev.
say the biggest winners of that Mavs game a couple nights ago, Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, great winner, 30 points. The Dallas Mavericks, because they're in the Western Conference Finals.
They won.
And then Pat Beverly. Those were the biggest winners of that game, and you saw it. He woke up at 4:45, had a chance to take advantage of the moment, and you can't blame him. I think we would all relish in that opportunity.
Yeah.
See the person we dislike the most fail, and you get a call from ESPN, hey, come on our show. We'll give you an hour of just open mic time.
Yeah.
You're going to take that opportunity
in.
every time.
And it's Pat Bev. He's going to do his thing. I loved it. I think it's refreshing. I like a little competition, outside of the court, Get into it. I love it. Sometimes the NBA is too nice these days.
No, I think it's great. It just Pat Beverly, it's almost like he wants to paint a giant target on the back of his team wherever he goes. This is painting that giant target on the back of his team. Not just from Phoenix fans, but there's a lot of fans and players. Damian Lillard had a reaction to it. It's like, get a grip, man. So it's fun. I think it's needed for the league, but also you kind of roll your eyes at it. It's like, okay, here's Pat Beverly once again. But that moves on into the series with Golden State, who's kind of, I won't say a cakewalk, but they've had matchups with teams. Denver missing a couple players. Obviously, Memphis missing. Whoop that trick. Ja Morant being gone. Now they're facing a healthy and a hungry Dallas Mavericks team.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. Dallas has a lot of momentum going into this series, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. But at the end of the day, it's Golden State, and they're just history of winning, and they know what to do to get there. It's kind of hard to bet against them.
Well, to go off that, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Steph Curry recently is a college grad. He just graduated from college last week, I believe. Saw this on Twitter. And
What did he get his degree in?
It was in some kind of art. So it was like, it was a business of arts or something. And I don't know what it was. But here's the thing. The guy was focused on the wrong finals. He was focused on acing those tests, and it affected his shooting. It affected his game. And I think now that that's past him, he's a college grad. He's focused on the big-time finals now. He's going to do his thing this series. I got Dubs in 5. I'm already calling it. I love Luka. Dubs in 5.
Well, do you think that Steph Curry was dribbling up the court and was like, oh man, I got a paper due at midnight? Like, or was he like focused on the game? I don't know how much that necessarily like.
No, that's kind of like a bit. It's just an excuse for his poor performance, I think, last
Oh,
year.
it's a perfect excuse to have. But there's no way anyone was like, hey, I know you've got a game at 9, but this paper's due at 10, so we got to figure it out. But congratulations to Steph. He's been a big fan of our show. So, Steph, we want to say congratulations. You know what? I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was on radio, my nickname was Hot Take.
Give it to us.
You want a hot take, fellas?
Hello, Hot Take.
Hello, cha-ching.
It's hot.
I've got a team in 7, and it rhymes with the Pavricks.
Whoa.
Mavs in 7.
Tell us why, Scotty Ayers.
Hey, it's the guy you know and love, Trevor. You talked to us quite a bit about him. It's Luka time.
Luka boy.
Hello, Luka. I honestly also think Golden State is a beatable team. I know there are times where they look invincible and unstoppable, but there are times where they look very, very beatable. And I think the Mavs, with how well they're playing, I can see them getting it done against Golden State.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. I mean, Luka's nuts, but the Mavericks don't have Sacramento Kings coach Mike Brown as on their staff.
Whoa.
Mike Brown, read his playoff history. It's like 13-1.
With the Dubs. With the Dubs.
Yeah. With the Dubs.
What do you think it'll be with the Kings?
It'll still be 13-1.
Okay, fair enough.
That's so sick. Yeah. But no, I mean, the Warriors they are very beatable, and it's very clear. I mean, Klay's not the same player as he was in the past, but of course you can always bet on game 6 for Klay to go off. I like to think that their history, their knowledge, and their just ability to get to the finals is what's going to propel them to beat the Mavs. I just think the Mavs are very inexperienced, and also they just don't have a 2 guy. Like Luka, I feel like he can only take the team as far as he can, and I just think the Warriors are just way better of a team than the Suns actually are.
Dude, Luka, that just brings me to my next point. Luka Doncic, what he has done with this team, where Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, credit to those two. They've played like so well, and they're great players. But you look at the other number 2s on some of these teams, and those guys are just so below. And Luka Doncic is taking that team against the number 1 seed in the West.
Not just the West, in the NBA.
In the NBA, best record in the league, and what he did to them in Game 7. CP3 and Book were on that court. It's not like they were playing an injured team. You can't come up with an excuse.
Technically, CP3 was injured. Allegedly. Per Mark Spears.
Quad.
We are watching greatness. You cannot argue it. Luka Doncic, this is just the beginning, too. Like, who knows where he's going to be. So I don't want to throw too many hot takes out there after my 5 Dubs and 5, and then you threw a hot take. So I'll save my Luka Doncic as the top 3 of all time when it's all said and done. I'll save that for another show.
Save that off air.
Yeah.
That would be smart. I would hate for you to bring that up.
Yeah, you should write that down in your journal.
Yeah, write that down, but don't bring that up.
Yeah,
well,
I'm not going to say that.
I think all valid points. Let's move on to the Eastern Conference. Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, 1 versus the 2 seed, and I think oftentimes you hear 1 versus 2. Okay, yeah, that adds up. But if you looked at the East to start this playoff year or cycle, I should say, not a lot of people had both Miami and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hat tip to both of them for kind of getting through the gauntlet and meeting now in the East.
Yeah, definitely. I think Boston is the biggest surprise, even though they were that number 2 team, but just based off of where they were in January and where they are now, they're 2 completely different teams. They're awesome. They're so much fun to watch. Their defense is nuts. They're all locked in, and Jason Tatum is just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, it is. So that's such a good point. Just like to start off the Eastern Conference playoffs, it's like you look at it, and if you were to say, yeah, Boston and Miami are going to be 1 and 2, you
get laughed at.
You would get laughed at because you have like the Bucks, you have the Nets, the Sixers. Those were the teams that we expected to see at this time of year still playing, and they're not, because honestly, defense pulls through. These are 2 of the best defensive teams this year. Obviously, the Celtics in the second half, and then Eric Spoelstra is known for being a defensive coach, and the Miami Heat, bro, they are, so disciplined and so nose to the floor, and just they're laying it all out there. Great defensive team. Yeah, it'll be exciting. It'll be, I think, a really close series.
I think so too. And Boston, I have to really credit them because they could have shied away. They could have tanked at the end of the year to get a more favorable drawing in the playoffs, maybe face Toronto in the first round. They said, no, we want to take on Brooklyn. And not only that, we are going to sweep Brooklyn. And then they said, you know what? We'll take on the defending champs. Why not? It's Giannis. Who cares? And winning that game 7 was massive. Now they have to take on another great challenge in Miami. It should be a really exciting series. I like Boston this series in 6 games. I think it's going to be a really fun, competitive series, but I think it's going to favor the Celtics in the end.
Wasn't it in the bubble, Celtics and the Heat?
It was.
Yep. So it's a rematch of that, which is going to be really interesting because it's a totally different atmosphere. Obviously, the players are older, more mature, and I too agree with you that it's the Celtics. I think just what they proved this year in the playoffs so far, they're a much better team. And I just think, they're going to have the best players on the court. I think Jason Tatum's the best player in the series. And then you can kind of do a toss up between Jimmy Butler and Jaylen Brown sometimes. I feel like they're both fairly equal.
I feel like it's so weird because the Heat are a Miami team. They don't have like a ton of like sexy names. I mean, I guess they do. Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, but like Kyle Lowry, they don't get a lot of recognition. And what have they not done that makes me think like, or what have they like not done that makes me think that they're not gonna play well against the Celtics? And why are we just I don't know. I feel like they have a great shot to beat the Celtics. I think that they haven't shown really a ton of weaknesses. They're just a well-coached. They have the guys. I think they have a good shot. I'm probably going to go, I think it's a close. I think it goes 7 games. I got Heat in 7.
Perfect. And I think you're completely right, too. There's not a lot of question marks with Miami. I guess I lean towards Boston because their defense has been suffocating. Giannis was beyond frustrated in Game 7. Nobody knew how to shoot a basketball outside of him on Milwaukee. And then they've just really had key players step up for them as well. It's going to be the 3rd conference title appearance for Jason Tatum and company. That is insane for such a young player who's ascending into becoming a superstar.
Yeah, I feel like the future of the NBA is in Luka's hands on the West and then Jason's on the East. I feel like that's kind of how things are forming right now. And maybe it'll be kind of like a Bird Magic sort of, rivalry going forward. I mean, they
Yeah.
both kind of came in similar times, and they're both somewhat similar, like player types.
I don't know about that. Bird Magic are just two icons, and you got Ja Morant in the West. You have Luka on the East. You have Trae Young. You have Giannis. You have
Jokic.
yeah. I mean, if we're gonna talk about Giannis, I might as well throw Jokic in there. They're around.
Yeah,
the
he
same
just won. He just won 2 straight MVPs.
Well, how old is he? That's why I'm
26.
26.
26,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Same age as Giannis. I think Giannis is 26. Yeah. So I think I don't know. I feel like the future is all of
Future's
those
in
guys.
great hands.
It's in great hands. The combination of all those guys carrying the league forward, it's exciting.
One final thing before we get to our ad read. We talked a little bit about how the Suns got absolutely roasted on social media. They got destroyed, rightfully so, because of the absolute meltdown and beatdown. But let's talk a little bit about the Bucks as well. They are a championship defending team, and they did not play like one against Boston. Do you think Bucks fans are kind of having a sigh of relief right now? Because if that Game 7 doesn't happen with the Suns, I feel like we wake up the next morning and we're talking, man, that was ugly from Milwaukee. I don't know. It just seemed really interesting that as soon as the Suns game happened, we completely forgot that the Bucks just stunk for 48 minutes.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. I think what I think about Milwaukee, a lot of people may overreact on this loss. I honestly don't think you need to freak out if you're Milwaukee. You were missing your number 2 option. Drew Holiday is incredible. I love him. He's one of the best defenders in the league, if not the best perimeter defender. But they're missing Chris Middleton. And also, correction, Giannis is 27, not 26. Just want to make sure we clear that up. But I don't think you have to do... Huh?
No, nothing.
I said 26. I just wanted to make sure.
made eye contact. That's all.
sick. Okay.
Yeah,
Super
it
sick.
was like that really loving admiration for you.
I love that.
We shared that with
I don't.
our eyes.
I don't think Milwaukee needs to do anything. I don't think you need to freak out. I like what they have going on. They've done it. They did it last year. They were missing their number 2 guy. I think they're good.
Yeah, I would agree. The Bucks are totally fine. I feel like the fact that the Suns did lose, though, does kind of go to your point of like Milwaukee Boston game kind of doesn't get talked about because everyone's like Phoenix Suns, and then on top of it, the Pat Bev, all that stuff. It's getting more attention, and it's funny that it's like I feel like a lot of attention isn't even going to the Mavericks. Who
No.
beat the Suns. Like everyone's
there's
just
been no
immediately
attention.
starts talking about the Suns. So it's really interesting, and yeah, I agree with you there. Bucks are just fine. It'll be interesting to see if they can bring back some guys who are going into free agency this year. But I mean, again, they have Giannis, so it's hard to always rule them out. You know?
Yeah, when you have Giannis, there's always a chance. And here's a little fun factoid before we go into our nice little ad read here. Chris Paul, he was a part of that beatdown loss, but do you know that wasn't the biggest loss of his career? In fact, it wasn't the biggest playoff loss ever. That happened in a playoff series, Denver versus Charlotte. Hello. First round, game 4, 62-point loss to Carmelo Anthony and company. Do you know who was on that Charlotte team? His name rhymes with Drismall.
Ooh.
Chris Paul.
Chrissy
So Chris Paul's been a part of some of the biggest losses.
Wait, you mean New Orleans?
I mean New Orleans.
I was like Charlotte.
Oh, I
Denver
meant New
playoff?
Orleans. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you were doing the math there, like the 2 doesn't go there. No, it was New Orleans. But yeah, so he's now been a part of 2 of the biggest playoff losses ever. So first ballot Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
night, sleep tight.
Just kick Chris Paul when he's down. That's what we love to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great player. But let's get into the ad read. And guys, we all love Shark Tank. In fact, I was recently watching Shark Tank. And I just watched Barbara. We all know Barbara.
Yeah.
She's
Great
got a
lady.
great woman.
Realty mogul.
Realty mogul. She just gave 2 children, adolescents really, $50,000.
Is she senile?
And it's a world-class idea, fellas. So I'm here to give you an ad read for the drip drop.
Give it to him.
What's the drip drop?
Drippity drip drip on my drop. Alrighty, are you tired of eating ice cream like a bozo?
Uh-huh.
Boo-hoo. Will spilling that goo all over you?
Oh, God.
Invest in the drip drop. These teenage boys have patented their ice cream cone protector, so there's no more mess, only success. Please buy their product. Barbara is begging you. Well, guys, welcome back from that wonderful and beautiful ad read. But this is the part of the show I think we're all looking forward to. I think a lot of people, when they think off season, all right, it's time to watch baseball. Maybe I'll queue up Madden again. But this is what we're most excited for. It is the NBA Draft Lottery. And if you're listening to this on release 5/17, then you get to watch the Draft Lottery tonight. Dreams will be made.
If you're a fan of a losing team, close your eyes. While all of your friends have been cheering for their team in the playoffs, you've been all alone and sad on your couch. But you remember that the draft lottery is your hope. It's your time as a fan to hold on to hope, hold on to the ping pong balls, and you can jump up to the first pick in the draft.
Where can they go from, Trev?
If you're in the 11th spot, you can jump all the way to the first spot.
Really?
If you are in the 8th spot,
Where can I go?
You can go to the 2nd spot.
Hello?
The 2nd? If you are the 14th spot,
I can't even count that high.
you can go to the 3rd spot.
That's nuts.
Tonight is your night, losing team fans. Celebrate, stand up, have hope for the draft lottery.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah.
Christian, why don't you describe what we're about to do here? There's a little thing called the Tankathon. And Christian, I know you love the Tankathon as a Sacramento Kings fan, both you and Trevor, considering you live and breathe in the draft lottery. Describe kind of what the Tankathon actually looks like.
Yeah, so I've been basically doing this for a while. Basically, as soon as the last Sacramento King game of the year, I've been on Tankathon every day. Sometimes I'm doing multiple simulations throughout the day. Sometimes it's just one a day. So basically what it is it gives you the draft lottery order, and you're able to sim it. So we're going to simulate the lottery, and then we're just going to go from there. We're going to see who gets the first pick, and we'll probably just discuss the first 6 picks, two to each.
We'll do a mock draft for the first 6.
Yeah, and we'll just kind of go into that, and it'll be kind of a little fun thing for us because, that's where we want to talk about. We want to talk about the future and what's up and coming. So I'm going to go ahead and sim it right now. The first seed is the Houston Rockets right now for the first pick. Second will be Orlando. Detroit's third. Fourth, OKC. Pacers are at 5. Portland's at 6. Sacs at 7. Pelicans have the 8th best odds. Spurs have the 9th. Wizards have the 10th. New York the 11th. The 12th best odd goes to the Thunder. The Charlotte Hornets have the 13th best odds, and then the Cavs rounded out at 14. So with this sim here, we're going to go, and it looks like the Pistons win the lottery.
Let's go, Motown.
The Sacramento Kings!
Yes!
Get on your feet, Kings fan.
Come on now,
It's the
916,
second
baby.
pick.
We're rocking around the second pick. We have the Indiana Pacers. Shout out to Tyrese.
Shout out Tyrese.
The Houston Rockets at the 4th pick. The Magic at the 5th. And then this is the worst possibility for the Oklahoma City, but they're rocking with the 6th pick.
OKC, that hurts.
Gross.
Dang.
Yuck. Gross.
Okay, Christian.
Someone hand me a bucket.
Assign us teams because we're going to do a mock draft here.
I think it's fair that neither Trevor or I pick for the Kings.
So I got the second pick with the Kings.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go first, and then it'll be Scott, then Trevor.
What team? Can you give us the teams?
I'm the Pistons. Scott, you're the Kings.
Hello.
Trevor is the Pacers.
Do I get 2 in a row since we're snaking this thing?
Yeah, you'll be the Rockets after the Pacers.
'Kay.
Then you'll be the Magic, and I'll finish with the Thunder.
All right.
So with the first pick as the Detroit Pistons, I'm looking at my team. I have Cade Cunningham and I have Sadiq Bey. Those are my 2 foundational pieces. I think the Pistons will trade Jeremy Grant this offseason.
For sure.
I think it doesn't make sense for them to keep him. So go ahead, get some maybe draft picks, maybe a nice young player. So I'm looking to maybe fill that power forward position. And I feel like what is going to help the Pistons is more and more shooting. So I think I'm going to take Jabari Smith Jr. here. I think he adds that gritty defensiveness while providing a big athletic scorer who can shoot the rock. So, Cade Cunningham has options when he's driving. I can even pass it to Sadiq Bey, or I got Jabari Smith on the other end. So I really like that option for the Pistons.
You're passing up on Chet? Wow.
I am. He's
Fair.
just such a mystery. He's such a question mark.
I love Jabari. Good pick.
Now things fall into the Kings' hands, and this is where you can get creative. If Jabari goes number 1, I was thinking power forward the whole way, but there is one route that Sacktown can take, and it is the Cleveland Cavaliers route, where you go big. You put Sabonis at the 4, you put Chet at the 5,
Oh, yes.
which that is a massive lineup. It
would probably be Sabonis at the 5,
Chet at the 4.
Yeah.
But something of that nature where you have now 2 very good playmakers. Chet's interior defense where he can play really 4 and 5 guys defensively, the 4 or the 5, which is really nice to have. Then there's just kind of the question mark of the 2 and the 3. So I'm leaning towards either Chet or Ivy, because Ivy is just such a great scorer. But then you start to get the flashbacks of Buddy Hield, because there are times where Jaden Ivey's efficiency is very poor. Because of that, I say Sacktown, let's find a way back into the playoffs. Let's play big, and let's get Chet Holmgren.
Wow.
Are you happy about that?
I would be very happy with Chet. I'm so iffy on him, but if he's available at the second pick, I feel like you just have to take it. I'm not doing another Marvin Bagley.
No,
we
don't
we
pass.
got to take the best player available at that point.
And I do think Chet is better than both Banchero and
I
Ivy.
love that, just so that's on the record. But forget about the Kings right now, because we are talking Pacers basketball. All right, Pacers. We got Chet off the board. Jabbar is off the board. Your building blocks in Indiana, you have some solid pieces. I think Miles Turner could actually stick around. So you have him as your big. You have Tyrese Halliburton, Chris Duarte, Isaiah Jackson. And then after that, you have Malcolm Brogdon. I think they're going to flip him for some younger pieces. And then even Goga, their big boy, he was balling towards the end of the year. They just have a lot of solid pieces. You draft, I'm a big best player available. And so at that point in the draft, if those 2 guys are gone, you have Jaden Ivey and you have Paolo Banchero. I don't think that there's a clear distinction on talent, which one you're going to get, which one's better. Honestly, I think that both those guys you can make the argument for. So if I'm Indiana sitting there and that's what I believe, I'm picking the player, then I move on to fit. What's going to work with our guys? I think Paolo Banchero is an incredible fit next to, obviously, Chris Duarte and Tyrese Halliburton. You slot them in at the 3-4. They are looking good. So I'm picking Paolo Banchero with the third pick in the draft. Indiana, you're welcome.
I follow a lot of Pacers Twitter.
Yeah.
And every time I see Pacers Twitter, they're obsessed with Jaden Ivey.
Really?
Yeah.
Indiana boy.
Because he goes to Purdue. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And plus an electric athletic wing, or I guess two guard next to like Tyrese.
He's awesome.
Could be wild. I feel like you can't go wrong with Paolo.
Yeah.
But like I think they like strongly consider Ivy.
Yeah. No, it definitely, I was thinking either way. But okay, now I got Houston. Houston at 4. Their pieces, Jalen Green, and Alperen Sengun. Yeah, I think they're going to trade Christian Wood too this offseason. But with the 4th pick, I think they grab best player available, and they grab Jaden Ivey to pair up with Jalen Green. I think that's going to be a fun duo to watch. Very, very
I like that a lot.
It's a sexy pick. Those two guys are just going to be a blast. Yeah.
Do you think they would try to move from KPJ?
Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be suitors for him just with this off the court stuff. I don't know. I'm not the biggest.
Yeah, he lacks efficiency as well. Kind of like Ivy at times, but Ivy has that really fun unknown, and he does have that takeover that we saw in college.
Did you know that Jaden Ivey's parents, his mom played in the WNBA and his dad was like a NFL wide receiver? Like the dude is just
That's incredible.
he's insane.
That DNA is unbelievable.
Yeah.
My father is about 5'8" and can't lift more than 20 pounds.
Why you got to call out Robin now, bro?
and my mother is a great woman, but neither had an athletic bone in their body, which is why I'm sitting at this chair cross-legged, crisscross applesauce, recording this.
Pick your pick.
Okay. For the Magic, this is a disaster, I think, as well. I think OKC 6 and Magic 5 is a horrible nightmare situation because for how bad they are, you want a chance to get someone like Jabari, Paolo, or Chet. Now you're looking at Sharp from Kentucky, which I don't like. All I've seen Orlando do for the last 3 years is just build up on guards, guard after guard after guard after guard, which then now you're starting to look at AJ Griffin or Keegan Murray. One of those two, I think, would be the pick for Orlando. Based on kind of what Orlando has right now, I think I lean towards Keegan Murray.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Keegan
Iowa.
Murray.
Guys.
Love Keegan.
Was the top scorer in NCAA last year. Hopefully he can provide that in Orlando.
Dude, 40% from deep.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with that.
I
You
think
can't.
Keegan Murray is so similar of a prospect to like what Franz Wagner was last year.
Yes.
Kind of does a little bit of everything, and people are just like still a little questionable about him.
Right. And rightfully so, but I think just with what Orlando has, it makes the most sense.
Yeah, they have like 4 young guards, so it's
Yes.
like at some point they need to pick who their guard is
Right.
and then figure it
Unless you package one of those guards in a pick for something. But for picking for the sake of Tankathon, they go Keegan.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, if I'm OKC sitting at 6, I think this is the best outcome that could happen for him. Because I think Sharp, although he's a question mark and the fact that we have no idea how he's going to play against competition, he has tremendous skill. I mean, he can shoot the ball. He can defend. He's 6'6" with like a 7-foot wingspan, very athletic. A lot of draft experts are predicting that he could potentially be the best player in this draft. And maybe they're saying that because they have no film to back up what kind of player he is. So they're like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be the best player, no doubt. But he could also be a bum for all we know. But I like the swing that the Thunder would make here at getting Sharp, because you don't know what he can be. And, pairing him next to SGA and Giddy
And Poku.
and Poku, I feel like that's a great, team to work with and develop with, and you'll be able to get your shots because these guys will get you open, sort of thing. So yeah, Sharp would be the 6th pick if I'm the Thunder here.
That's great. And that, my friends, is what we call a tankathon. Now just talking about actual draft lottery. It's a very exciting time. But, this is an interesting draft because you mentioned Chet Holmgren, who has an insane ceiling, but there's question marks. And that's where we were kind of talking about this even off air. It just stinks when you're a top team in the lottery, but it's not necessarily you're picking from a field with Trae Young, Luka Doncic, even DeAndre Ayton. It doesn't feel as strong of a class as we've seen in years past.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like there's always people that are judging classes, but we actually don't know.
We have no idea.
Like, look at the draft with Tyrese Halliburton. I'm pretty sure they said that draft was not going to be that great. And there's a lot of really good players that came out of that draft. I mean, the fact that Tyrese fell to 12th is kind of nuts. Like, no one expected that. But there's really good players coming out of every draft class as of recent.
Right.
So it's hard to say what's a bad class and what's a good class until later
10 years
on.
down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. You can't judge it too early. Obviously, the experts, they've been following these guys, so they know a little bit about what they're talking about, and I feel like most of the time they're right. But at the end of the day, to just say like, yeah, this is not going to be a good draft, turn them off. Like that's yeah. No, I got nothing else.
Yeah. Well, we see those ping pong balls drip drop tomorrow night, and I think it's going to be a very exciting time. And guys, we're at that point where it's kind of the end of our first show. We've had some laughs, we've had some tears with Trevor, and I feel like we've gotten a little bit closer after tonight.
For sure.
I agree.
Well, with that being said, guys, it was an absolute pleasure. For those who have tuned in for this first episode, maybe you listened to a couple of our practice podcasts, we thank you very much. It means the world to us to just give us your feedback. Any sort of honesty and opinions really helps us out for the future. So for Trevor Mikulin and Christian Dennis, I'm Scott Ayers. We say so long for now. We will see you next week.
Tobias over me?